Let me see your sexy occipital bone.
You have an sexy occipital ridge?
Let's look. This is your occipital ridge. Okay, ready?
Mine is easy to see.
Look at mine.
Look at that occipital ridge.
Whoa.
I only know that because we had this awesome massage therapist, and he's like, we're going to work a little on your occipital ridge. And it was awesome. I mean, he's like, there's a lot of tension there. And he did loosen it up. He was good.
So, if you can't tell, I'm with Sean Brady again, and what we do is we just have fun, so... Hey.
You know, it's not my middle name, but maybe it should be.
So, we just did these assessments.
We sure did.
With Art
Snarczyk with InnerView Advisors.
Yeah.
And, man, I just love that guy.
Apparently, I don't smile enough.
Oh, what?
Because I'm super driven, but
That doesn't mean you don't smile enough. It just means you're super driven.
But I've been hanging out with you for like an hour and a half, and like my cheeks hurt from smiling so much.
It goes back to like your wedding day when you're smiling all the time and your cheeks hurt. You're so funny.
I know.
That's just ridiculous. So you are doing some cool stuff, and besides having fun, you're just figuring out how you can be more of you.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of what we did in this assessment.
Isn't that cool?
Yesterday.
So if you haven't done an assessment with Art, and, you know, there's a lot of people who do disc tests. You can do it on Tony Robbins' website for free.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know. It's a different version. A lot different, because I think what most people... Here, can I borrow your test a second?
Yeah.
So what Art does that I think most of the disc test, they'll talk about this part here. The disc actually is like, I identified that I'm a D or an I or things like that. What I love about Art's thing is he really goes into behavior drivers, which that's driving your why.
Yeah.
Right? And as Mark Warren said the other day, do you know Mark yet?
No.
You will.
Okay.
You know, it's like when you, and you probably learned this from Art, it's like once you get your why is actually drives your how.
Yeah.
So when
your what.
And your what.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and I think I reposted that on Facebook the other day. But it's these things here. So these cultural norms that are your norms or our norms, we can begin to see all that stuff, and that develops our why.
Well, and so what's interesting is that I do the psychology behind user adoption, and it's what's in it for them, and we talk a lot about, you know, Simon Sinek's why.
Yes.
And so doing this, I was totally like, ooh, like I should give this to people that we're doing change management projects with, essentially, because then if I can figure out what their why is, then we're going to be able to help guide them through the change like a lot faster. So I have it on my to-do list to ask Art how we can get more access to these.
More access to these.
So look at this. This is really cool.
This is very cool.
Yeah. So we have a team that's working together, and all of us took the assessment, and then he charted each of our individual personalities so we can see within the context of the entire group.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
And you can see where we're at. So I'm I'm a number one.
So much application in businesses, in hiring, and especially in organizational change management.
Yes.
Where I've got all these leaders, and each of them are going to lead differently, and each of their people are going to need something different. And so I'm so excited about this.
Isn't it cool? So that's one thing I've noticed, and this is going back forever. It's like there's always some sort of managerial training, right? It's like, how do you work with all these different types of people, and how do they adapt? But it doesn't mean that, again, you're not supposed to be more of yourself.
Absolutely.
It just means that now you can understand what's coming from the other side, and then get this cool stuff.
Yeah, so this is the one that I want to use because it's basically like, how do you motivate people to do things based on their behavioral style?
It's so cool.
So really understanding what's valuable to them is going to really help you make sure that you're getting your change adopted. So
I love this.
It's all applicable.
Being the sales and business development person, what could kill the sale? Indecisiveness, not answering objections for the high Ds. Technical wizardry for eyes like myself.
So most generalization.
Yes.
Sales guys though tend to be like
and gals.
eyes, right?
Yep.
So it's one of the things in technology companies, right? We say, hey, here's tech, here's a CRM, here's a whatever, and we go in to a bunch of sales guys and show our technical wizardry, and then like wonder why they're like, I don't want to use CRM.
No, it's funny you say that. So I used to be a recruiter for technology startups.
Yeah.
Did you know this?
No.
I used to. And we would do that mostly, these startup CRM companies back in the day.
Yeah.
And who do you think the number one salespeople were? Eyes?
Oh, yeah. It's, yeah, eyes. Really?
Mm-hmm.
What?
They did well.
Okay.
Right? So the eyes will typically be around the 100%, 130, 150%, maybe 200% a plan, right? Whatever their thing was.
Yeah.
But what it was really the S or the C personality, really more of the S personality that transitioned over into I.
Oh.
Now, why is that?
Because they're doing the same little
technical
behavior
wizardry.
Over and over.
Who talks to technical wizardry?
Love it.
People love to talk to people who they love to talk to. So not only could, and there was this one guy, and he worked for, I won't say the company, but it was a mid-tier company, right? And he's like, Sean, I don't think you're going to be able to get me to leave. I'm like, well, why not? He's like, well, it's like I came on and my package is like, it's like substantial, like $200,000 a year. This is going back a bit. That 200 is probably like the new 300 or 400, but he did 400% of his plan. So he literally pulled in over 800,000 1 year, and he's like, "This is so easy. I don't know why I didn't go into sales earlier." I'm like, "Well, you couldn't have gone into sales earlier because you were doing all this other technical stuff. You were actually in the job." Managing it, coding it, you understand the language, you made all the connections with all the CIOs out there because you worked alongside of them, so of course they know, like, and trust you because you talk the same freaking language.
Yeah.
That's why I got out of technology because it kept changing so fast. Hated it. I learned all this XML understanding and how it all flows together from an architectural standpoint, but from a practical standpoint, I think we talked about that. I can't code my way out of nothing.
Yeah, but you also like the study, so all that constant change is hard for you.
It's
right?
like, I love. It's like, what can I study that's not going to change?
So it's something I heard that I think is so great. So people have been described on like in a decision making perspective as either a crock pot or a microwave. So when you make decisions, are you a crock pot or a microwave?
Usually a microwave.
So people who are like more okay with change tend to be more microwaves because they just like do it, try it again, do it, try it again, change, right?
Add 30 seconds.
Yeah. Crock pots are like, all right, I don't know that I want this to change. What do I need to do? Like, let me talk to a bunch of people about it.
Let it simmer a little bit more.
So,
it'll be fine. It'll turn out.
Yeah. So
here's what the directions said.
Yeah. So
I want to make sure we're incorporating all the ingredients in there in the crock pot.
Yeah.
Just get her done. Microwave.
So what are you going to do now that you know your behavioral style?
Well, I've known it for a while, but it's and I shared this in another podcast, is I get to be more of me, right? So I'm not supposed to change anything. I'm supposed to be this, gregarious, outgoing, ridiculous personality, and
that we love. It's okay.
And that's like that move right there, total high I move. Yeah. I know for a D, not so natural, but you're very adaptive, so you're great, right?
There we go.
And perfect for change management.
Oh, look at that.
Excellent. So what am I going to do is just keep studying this and help people understand themselves more.
And send them to art.
Because, and actually, we're always talking about partnering up together. And that's one of the things that I want our group to do is incorporate more of this stuff, not just for us, but for others. Because once people really understand how look at all this stuff. Of course he's going to have all this stuff laid out that I would never put together. I love looking at it, but Art is a master at putting all this stuff together and presenting it in a way so that each personality type not only understands it, but can adopt it and realize they don't have to change anything about themselves.
Yeah. One of the things he said about me that I felt like a little bit like I was like in a psychic reading or something, right? Because seriously, so he's like, here's what I can tell about you from reading your chart, which I think he called them sexy graphs, by the way, if I recall correctly. But here's what he said about my
he probably
my
did.
Sexy graphs and my sexy occipital lobe. Inside joke. Sorry. The ridge. He said that.
Look at all that. Look at all that. It's awesome.
He said, so what I can tell by looking at your graphs is that you probably always want to take all of the courses. You want some more letters behind your name, but then you won't because you're like, oh, it costs too much money. And then when you do something, you learn it, and then you just want to like go share it with everybody and teach everybody else. And I was like, so true. Are you in my head?
That is awesome. Oh, let's do that. Okay, let's pause this. Let's stop this video.
Yeah.
And then we'll share about some cool stuff.
Cool. Love it.
We'll share all this learning knowledge with other people.
Let's do this.
Awesome. Okay, there's one.